It's me, Queen Sensitivity, and hey, Hayden, if you're watching this video. I hope you can hear the little bells in the back. Can you hear them? And then like the little motorcycle over there, like just did a little vroom, vroom sound just as I was hollering, and now the wind is blowing, and now some creatures are singing, and a horn just blew. I've been having a lot of synchronicities like this happen today, recently, but I would especially like to say today. I saw that there was like a soft grand opening of these two stores right next to each other, and one of them said Miracle Touch, and the one next and the one next door said 33 wishes. And as you can hear this bird, that's one of the best things about doing I guess spiritual work in nature, is because it responds so quickly. When we are in our usual, I guess for majority of us, like office-y lives or inside of buildings, it can be very hard to feel like the universe, spirit, God is responding to you, because there's not a lot of things that are alive around you. Even then still messages can come, but it's more fun usually in nature. So this is just gonna be like some updates and stuff I noticed. For one, I've been hearing a lot about wedding bells, and I don't think it's a coincidence that the park that I chose to come to today is the park next to this church that always got these bells playing. And then at this time, I just randomly decided to come. I was feeling very overwhelmed. I fluctuate between being really happy and being really confident and knowing like everything is working out for my highest good, because it always is. It's the only way that anything could be. And then I'll have these moments of like randomly being super emotional, wanting to cry, doubting myself. And also there has been this sense of boredom, which I think is a privilege. That anybody could say that they're bored is a fairly privileged person. So I want to make sure that I say that I'm grateful to even be able to be bored. But at the same time, being bored is kind of annoying, because I keep being told by spirit not to do much. The only thing that I'm being called to do is to follow my intuition, which has been stronger and stronger and stronger recently. Like I've been able to get like very clear messages on yes and no, do not do that. Yes, do this. No, don't do that. Where usually I'm able to like be more, spirit was more open. Like for example, today I went to a spiritual store and I wanted to get some cleansing incense to burn. And I was thinking between sage and this other one called Frankenstein or something like that. And I was about to get the other one that starts with the F, and spirit was like, no, don't get that one. Whereas usually spirit is more lax. I'm like, yeah, go ahead and explore and go ahead and get different things. But recently it has not been that way. I'm being called to turn around. Yeah, it's been much more like specific. Lots of divine unions taking place within and also on the outside. Twin flames or divine counterparts, however you would prefer, are huge right now. I've been thinking a lot about my twin. It has made me very happy, passionate, and sad. And what I do is I try to just remember that I am divine feminine, I am queen, and so I always have everything that is mine. And also, like, even the concept of like having stuff and holding on to stuff is very like lower vibrational, because it's even thinking that you're not connected with everything is like going against the truth that you are everything. And so I just kind of remind myself of these things, but it can be hard. So be very, to Psalm 444, be very, very kind and compassionate to yourself. The word compassion has been coming up a lot. Like if you find yourself having these thoughts, know that right now There are a lot of energetic clearings happening. So much source light is being shot to the planet. So much solar weather. So anything that is not high vibrational, anything that is old and unneeded is coming up and being cleared. And it's normal to have these kind of fluctuations. What else? I wanted to also talk about loneliness. I get very lonely sometimes. Most of the time I'm not, because I like to be by myself, and I usually am so caught up in whatever message or whatever I'm doing at the time that I don't even notice how much time I spend alone. But I've also noticed that when I've tried to make friends in the 3D and tried to like hang out with people, stuff has happened all throughout my life where I just have been not allowed, or people not allowed to interact with me in certain ways, and it can be very frustrating. But if you've experienced that, I want you to know that, for one, you are not alone, and for two, something that I do is I just try to keep reminding myself that it's not because anything is wrong with me. It's just a part of my purpose, my mission here, as a spiritual leader, to be very expansive in my thought. And I am very vulnerable to absorbing other people's energy because I'm such an empath. And so I'm actually being protected and actually saving myself a lot of pain, and Spirit is saving myself a lot of, having to clear out, other people's whatever stuff they got going on, latching on to me. So I view it from that way. But yeah, another thing I want to say is, at this time, because we are rising in consciousness and rising in frequency, and also letting down our walls and opening up our hearts, the green, I keep being called to wear green, is be very aware of what you consume. And this is in terms of everything, because I just finished reading this book and it was so sad, and I felt like I was like sad and like in a panic, and I had to like remind myself that this isn't my energy, it's from this book. It was an amazing book, but it was just very sad and depressing perspective, especially on the world as we know it, which can be quite ugly. So yes, be very aware of what you're consuming. Make sure you're consuming only beautiful things that make you feel good. Drink lots of water. It's like a wasp. Don't come over here. I'm like, you heard what I said. Don't come over here. 2, drink lots of water. 3, I would recommend going out in nature as much as possible. Sometimes I don't feel like going outside, but then when I just give a little energy to go outside, I always end up feeling better. So I would always recommend that. And compassion. Be very compassionate with yourself, with anything that you're going through, anything that you're experiencing. I think I'm just going to turn the camera around, let you see this beautiful park, and then I'll pick these oracle cards that I got out. Spirit says hello. That's what I heard when the wind was blowing. Can this wasp leave me alone? I know, I just feel like even with this wasp, it's like this feeling, this tension of like there being some sort of threat approaching that I have just today, or I guess right now. If you're feeling this, I'm being like told to tell you that it's actually something that's really good, like a surprise, like a miracle that's approaching. And that your, I guess what lower vibrational beings would love is for you to keep believing that it's something terrible approaching, but it's the opposite. So don't feed it and don't give into it. Just acknowledge that it's there, that feeling, And then if you want, you can just remind yourself, oh yeah, I'm loved, and the whole cosmos is inside of me, and therefore always conspiring for my highest good. Oh yeah, miracles are normal and they happen for me all the time. Oh yeah, things come to me easily because I am abundant, because I believe in myself and I trust the magic that I naturally have. Just remind yourself, it's okay. But just again, to reiterate, compassion, not only for yourself, but for other people, is very important at this time, because other people, what's the difference between them and you? Circumstances, this happened, that happened, you know what I mean? And so having compassion with yourself also comes with the need to be compassionate towards other people. Just to be clear, this does not mean to let people run all over your boundaries or not to hold people responsible and accountable for their actions, but like I said, compassion. Okay, so I got these bad babies, and since I don't have a hands-free thing, I'll just have to do it off camera. What would you like, or I can do it this way, what would you like everybody to know? Doing this one, and one more, this one. All right, so I got 3. Let's see, the bottom of the deck is Moonstone. This one been coming out a lot. So I'll just start here with the Moonstone. It's all about, I feel, taking back your power and also owning every part of yourself, accepting all the things that you've done in the past, that you do in the present, whatever, and also just like moving on from them, because it's like the moon, like I said, represents like anxiety or thoughts, anxious thoughts that you have, and it's this person, like they're in front of it and it's a full moon, so it's like they're taking full inventory and stock of everything, but they're also moving on because it no longer serves them. And that's what's very important for you to remember, that when you try to kind of go into the rabbit hole, as Rebecca Troy likes to say, go into the rabbit hole of like your past and your trauma, like you don't need to stay there. You acknowledge it, then you move on. Oh, a bee. It didn't mess with me, it just landed nearby, so I think that's cute. I love bees. Not all bees sting. You can look up the spiritual meaning of a bee. Let me get out of the sun. Okay, so the first card that we have, let me make sure it don't blow away, is Await the Night. So again, it's this feeling of like we're all waiting for the final countdown. I also like that song, We Are the Champions. Like that song was coming on a lot, but it's just this feeling of like waiting patiently. What was that sound? For something to come through. And I feel like by the way this person is like kind of sitting kind of seductively, and also with these bats on top of them and behind them, it's this feeling of like, as you wait, do it heavenly, do it with grace, have fun, get your favorite grapes out. And that's another thing about loneliness. Like I try to remind myself, like a lot of people in the world wish they had the kind of time to themselves that I have to myself, because time to yourself can be very healing. And so I tend to think about it like that, like, oh, I get to be with myself all this extra time and have all this extra time to myself. What would I like to do? And what would I like to, embrace? And I feel like all these bats are representing like your spirit guides, or just spirit, or the angels kind of surrounding you intensely or heavily at this time. That's what I've mentioned in my The Champions Are Here reading. It's a lot of light beings here, and I think that's another reason why, because the veil is very thin, and I know that's another reason why like the messages have been more clear and more straightforward than usual. So that means less interference. Then we have the Truth. So this is beautiful. I feel like Spirit is saying you can rest assured because the truth is being revealed. This is one of the reasons that I like this author, because she incorporates dragons a lot. And this is an orange dragon, so I feel like this has to do with the sacral chakra, which we all know has been very active lately. As I posted on Instagram, I feel a lot of birthing birthing pains recently, like a lot of, I guess, just aching in my womb area, and it's because we're giving birth to a new kind of world, a new reality. And please don't doubt yourself, or doubt when people, like, I don't know, if people try to make you feel like, oh, like you think that you can rebirth the world. Of course you can, because who are you? You know, you're God. Of course you can. We all have the power to create anything. A bug just flew on me. Like, that's how attractive we are. So just that as well. But the sacral chakra is really important right now. And then with this blue robed person holding this sword of truth is what I'm hearing, and it's balance, justice. As I've mentioned before, the same messages keep being repeated. Justice is being served, divine justice. So that's what I was saying at the beginning about the divine feminine or divine masculine. We all have each of them within us, so don't worry about that. But it's this feeling of, like, if you feel lack or you feel threatened in any way, just remind yourself that divine justice is being served, because divine justice is just the truth, and the truth is always the same. Like, the universal truths are always the same. One of them, or maybe the only one, is that everything is love. And I feel like, especially with the throat chakra and even the sacral chakra, that a lot of truth is being revealed and brought to the surface. And I feel like this is a lot of truth in terms of love and endearment, especially having to do with sensuality and that creative part. Like,